So, since we just got our Vision of Perfection to proc, we can also drop our own Infernal, and notice how they're both 25 seconds long? Well, that's what happens. The game summons too many Infernals, and you die. What's going on, guys? I am here on the Shadowlands PTR, and I'm testing out Destruction Warlock today. I'm doing this because Warlock is one of the classes that I'm considering to be my main. So I just wanted to check out the changes and share them with you guys if you have not jumped on the PTR yet. So there's been a lot of changes to Destro's talent tree, which is really good. Like Soulfire, for example, seems like it's actually usable. It's now does more damage than a Chaos Bolt, even on a non-crit, and generates a Soul Shard and applies Immolate to the target. So I'll just show you guys that here. And the animation is pretty sick. Yeah, just a little meatball flying at him. Not so bad. Shadowburn is back. It may be back to its Mist of Pandaria glory days, if you guys remember that. Shadowburn has 2 charges, costs a Soul Shard, and refunds a Soul Shard if the target dies within 5 seconds. So if you're on a bunch of ads, you can toss out Shadowburns as you're moving. They hit pretty hard also. Shadowburn only costs 1 shard and hits for about 1,000, whereas a Chaos Bolt hits for, on average, around 2,400. And again, this is just on the PTR at level 110, or I'm sorry, not level 110, level 50, with item level 100. You'll notice that I have my neck unequip, and that's because I don't want the essences and Azerite powers kind of like skewing these numbers, because as we're leveling in Shadowlands, all of this stuff is going to go away. Like the second we cross into Shadowlands, none of this stuff is going to work, so I'm going to test it as if we didn't have it. So Shadowburn seems like a cool talent. Internal Combustion is about the same as it was in BFA. It consumes 5 seconds of Immolate's damage on the target. Probably not something you're ever going to take. Reverse Entropy still... like Shadowburn might be good enough to take over Reverse Entropy on maybe like Mythic Plus, but 15% haste for 8 seconds is so strong. It's hard to get away from that. Your level 30 row has not changed. Demon Skin, Burning Rush, and Dark Pack are all the same. Level 35 row, Inferno. So that, I'm actually going to jump over here to these other dummies. So Inferno causes your Rain of Fire to deal 20% increased damage, which is nice, and has a 20% chance to generate a Soul Shard fragment. Now, that's just a fragment, not a Soul Shard. You need 10 fragments to make a full Soul Shard. So even on 4 targets, casting it here, I go from 0 shards, and over the course of its duration, I generate not even 1 Soul Shard. So yeah, not so good. That chance probably needs to be bumped up, maybe 25% chance, maybe a 20% chance to generate 2 Soul Shard fragments, something like that. But getting 1 Soul Shard, not even 1 Soul Shard on your Rain of Fire cast is pretty atrocious, especially when Fire and Brimstone exists, and Cataclysm exists. Like, Cataclysm just does way more damage. Everybody knows what that does. But Fire and Brimstone is actually something that we might get a chance to use. Might be able to switch talents as a Destro lock. Who would have thought, Blizzard? So Fire and Brimstone now causes your Incinerate to generate 2 Soul Shard fragments for each additional target hit. So it already generates 2 on the main one. So I'm going to spend all my Soul Shards over here, and then just cast a couple Incinerates. And as you can see, like, it's basically each Incinerate cast is a full Soul Shard. And you can imagine with Immolates up also, I'm just generating a ton of shards to just dump into Rain of Fires or Chaos Bolts. And it really like makes Destro and Mythic Plus feel very, very strong, I would imagine. Like, I would imagine using this in a Mythic Plus scenario where you're able to hit everything. Also, this says all, and it doesn't have the AoE cap applied to it. So I'm not sure if they're going to change that. Currently in Shadowlands, there is an AoE cap of 5 targets or 8 targets, maybe. So if Fire and Brimstone hits everything, then we're like, that's going to feel amazing. Cataclysm's the same way. It says all enemies within 8 yards. It doesn't have the AoE cap implied on it, whereas things like Bladestorm, Thunderclap, other things. Yeah, so this Howl of Terror, for example, has the AoE cap of 5. It causes 5 enemies within 10 yards to flee, versus Cataclysm is all, and Fire and Brimstone is all. So that's pretty good. The level 40 row has changed. Howl of Terror is new, obviously. Well, new, but old. We used to have this baseline, or you could talent into it. It's just an AoE Frontal Cone Fear. Mortal Coil and Dark Fury have not changed. It doesn't look very impressive. I wish that had an animation. That would be cool. But it would be great to have some sort of animation other than just like a slightly purple ring for Howl of Terror. And the interesting one is Reign of Chaos. So that's on the level 45 row. It competes with a new Roaring Blaze, which Conflagrate increases the damage of Soulfire, Immolate, Incinerate, and Conflag. So basically all of your fire spells, anything that does fire damage except Chaos Bolt on the target. The next one is Groomer of Sacrifice. This is the one. This is the talent that nobody takes. It used to be amazing in Mrs. Pandaria and hasn't been good since then. So that's cool. And then we have Reign of Chaos. Now, Reign of Chaos is probably the most amazing broken thing I've ever seen. So I'm going to start with a bunch of soul shards because I'm cheating. When you drop your initial Infernal, every soul shard you spend has a 20% chance to summon an additional Infernal. So there's another one. And each of these guys, as you can see, generates soul shards. And this stacks with, currently in the pre-patch, this stacks with the neck, giving you procs from the Vision of Perfection. So basically, you can have this army of Infernals that are generating an infinite amount of soul shards for you for the duration of your cooldown. I think that that's a really awesome change over the previous Groomer of Supremacy, where it just increased your Chaos Bolt damage. You still want to get as many Chaos Bolts out as possible, but it like really changes the pace of your cooldown versus just like cast, like, okay, hopefully Bloodlust is there, you cast as much stuff as possible, you stack as much haste as possible. This really speeds everything up. You're just dumping Chaos Bolts into a priority target or into the boss on the opener during Bloodlust, and it feels amazing, especially when you combine it with Dark Soul. It is unfortunate that Infernal is still a 3-minute cooldown in Shadowlands, and it won't have the cooldown reduction of the Memory of Lucid Dreams, or I'm sorry, Vision of Perfection, to reduce it down to 2.5 minutes. That's unfortunate. The level 50 row is exactly the same as it is in BFA. I wish they would do something with these. Soul Conduit is boring. Like, Soul Conduit is really, really boring. A 15% chance to refund soul shards isn't fun, and it doesn't occur often enough to make it worth it. It would be great if this was increased shard generation on something else that you could control. Like maybe like Incinerate generates 50% more soul shard fragments. That would be something interesting here. Channel Demon Fire, again, really boring. It's the same thing it's always been. You just, since Legion, I think we've had this, and it does mediocre damage. I mean, it does 2.3k over the duration, but it has a 21-second cooldown. Yeah, that's reduced by haste, but still super boring. It doesn't generate shards. It's channeled. It doesn't feel like it's... Like, this doesn't feel like a Destro spell. And this doesn't multiply the number of bolts you get if you have incinerate on multiple enemies either. So if I'm here and I cast Cataclysm, it still only casts 15, even though I have 4 immolates up. It spreads them out, but it's not casting 15 at each one. If this was a proper AoE talent, that would make more sense. But again, it being tied to immolate makes Cataclysm required if you're taking it. So I don't really know what they're going with here. Groomer of Sacrifice, Channel Demon Fire, Soul Conduit, and Inferno are all just really boring talents. I could see Internal Combustion being used in PvP for some extra burst. Flashover is obviously what we use right now pretty consistently. Giving an additional charge of Backdraft is huge, especially because there's a legendary that actually gives you an additional charge of Conflagrate and it reduces its cooldown. So that's going to be really awesome. We're going to have a lot of haste for our main spells. That's good. Eradication makes sense. Chaos Bolt increases the damage you deal for 7 seconds. Maybe if this was extended a little bit longer, maybe to like 10 seconds, it's like a buff that we could maintain. But I don't, like 7 seconds isn't necessarily enough time always to keep the buff up 100% of the time. I don't know. Maybe there's something else that they could do here. These passive damage increases without, you know, some fun management don't really make a lot of sense. I could see Flashover and Roaring Blaze being and Reverse Entropy and that new legendary that gives you an additional charge of Conflagrate being used in tandem together, because it lets you keep up this 30% damage increase indefinitely. So that makes sense, and you're just kind of doing your normal rotation. But again, that's only to your sort of like filler, more support spells. Chaos Bolt's always been the star of the show for Destro, and I think it would be cool to have something that benefits that, like even bigger Chaos Bolts. You kind of stack things up there. As far as talents go, that's kind of where that's at. Destro isn't gaining really anything new. Warlocks in general are gaining a couple of new things though. Curse of Tongues, Curse of Weakness, and Curse of Exhaustion are back. For those of you who played Warlock for a long time, you know what these are. All Warlocks get Corruption baseline, and the thing that we've been complaining about forever as a Warlock, Demonic Circle, is back. That's super nice. Very happy about that. The other thing... so your pets now have a 8-second cast time reduced by haste or something like that. And now we have a spell that's on a 3-minute cooldown that reduces, or they're a 6-second cast time reduced by haste. And we have a spell that reduces its cast time by 5.5 seconds on a 3-minute cooldown. Maybe this is for PvP, maybe this is for high-end arena, maybe we're punishing Warlocks for not managing and healing their pets as much. Out in the open world, your pets never really die, so resummoning it is boring, but pet AI sucks. It sucks. I know Preach was talking about this in one of his videos. I can't tell you how many times as a Warlock main I've had to resummon my Imp or my Fellstalker because it's fucked off somewhere and isn't attacking the boss. It's somewhere else. It's attacking something else way behind me while I'm out in the open world, and just resummoning it makes more sense. Changing these all to a 6-second cast time when pet AI is so bad doesn't make any sense. It would be nice to see a revamped pet AI and maybe pets were more of a focus. I don't know. It seems like they created a problem and then solved it with an extra button, so rip our action bars, I guess. And then the big fun thing that was recently announced is Ritual of Doom. So this is the old school Ritual of Doom, requires 5 total people to summon the ritual, and then one of them actually dies. But you get a super strong Doom Guard. The Doom Guard doesn't do a terrible amount of damage right now. I'm assuming for Demonology this is going to be pretty insane. because their mastery directly benefits the pet damage. So that might be pretty awesome for them. You guys are getting close to a like progression pull. We need that last little bit of DPS. Okay, Ritual of Doom just before the fight. You have this super demon for 15 minutes that you occasionally have to re-enslave. So that's cool. I mean, it's a cool flavor thing. Unending Resolve still a thing. The only changes that we get as far as like leveling up goes, Fear gets you no longer suffer pushback when casting Fear. That's something that we've had. I'm pretty sure we've had that for several expansions now. And then maybe they took it away last expansion and now they're giving it back when we level up to 52. I don't know. It seems boring. Havoc lasts 2 seconds longer. That's a great quality of life thing. That adds an extra spell. 12 seconds into a 12-second Havoc is amazing. Can't complain about that. Rain of Fire dealing a 10% additional damage. Whoop-de-doo. I don't know. It's hard to recommend Rain of Fire, especially with the AoE cap, and especially because you have Havoc Chaos Bolt instead. I don't think Destro needs any new baseline spells. What I would like to see from Destro is some more interesting talent combinations. Thoughts on Destro? I really enjoy it. I'm going to be going over the other 2 Warlock specs very soon. Those will be the next 2 videos. I will leave you with the clip of me exploding myself and not being able to release. So otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like, comment, subscribe. That would be great. I also stream every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday on Twitch, twitch.tv/Nox_VZN. Link to that in the description below. Have a good one, guys. So, since we just got our Vision of Perfection to proc, we can also drop our own Infernal, and notice how they're both 25 seconds long. Well, that's what happens. The game summons too many Infernals, and you die. I have taken no damage, and it does not register me dying at all. Fun. Also, here's the best part. Hit release. Quality content. Small indie dev company.